The lanthanides. Why do we care? I believe the title of the talk that's in the agenda says that I'm going to address the issue of batteries, but in fact, this issue of the lanthanides and rare earth elements goes far beyond batteries and involves the entire high technology sector. So the 4 key points, I'll give you them right now. It's not just batteries, it's the entire high technology sector that depends on the lanthanides. Second, China controls essentially the entire market for these 15 elements in the lanthanides row of the periodic table. Third, from a business standpoint, there is nothing else that can compare in terms of commodity pricing, in terms of commodity availability to what we are seeing today in the lanthanides market. Fourth, no one really knows what happens next in this marketplace because it is just now getting the kind of attention that it likely deserves. And further, as China grows and is using more of these lanthanides internally, it is not at all clear what will happen to the export market for these elements, nor is it clear whether other countries, particularly the US, how quickly they can ramp up production of lanthanides and how much production they can actually come up with to supply a rapidly growing global market. So the first point I'll follow up on now, the entire high-tech sector is almost completely dependent on these elements. You all are aware, a few days ago, the Obama administration said that they're going to increase fuel economy standards for the entire US fleet. Now, that may be a laudable goal. The key question, though, is will there be enough lanthanides available to manufacture the number of hybrid electric vehicles that will likely be required to meet those efficiency standards? Just a quick primer on the lanthanides. I have an iPhone, a lot of people do. This phone has at least 3 of the lanthanides in it: europium, terbium, and dysprosium. There are likely several others, but those I'm certain are the case. Regarding the Toyota Prius, this isn't data that I got from Toyota, it's data that's commonly available in the popular press, but the Prius is considered the most rare earth element. The lanthanides are also considered rare earths. It is the most rare earth element intensive consumer product ever made. Each Prius contains about 25 pounds of rare earth elements. That's more than twice as much as any other vehicle, any other standard vehicle on the market. The production of the Prius requires at least this list, and again, I didn't get this from Toyota: cerium, lanthanum, neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, terbium, yttrium, and europium. There are 15 elements in the lanthanides row of the periodic table. You all have a copy of my book. I have a chapter on this issue. I also reproduced the periodic table in the notebook that you have, so you can look at those 15 elements. And I also have a few of the further discussion on praseodymium, neodymium, et cetera, in the handout in your notebook. These elements are also sometimes called the green elements because they are so critical to so many different green technologies. If you look at wind turbines, they contain neodymium magnets. They are sourced in China. When we look at high technology, what are the qualities? What are the processes that are critical to high technology? Well, they are not limited to this list, but magnetism, phosphorescence, fluorescence, catalysis, polishing, tinting, and alloys. For essentially each one of those processes, the lanthanides are critical. Catalysis, lanthanum is an essential catalyst for use in the refining sector for turning heavy fuel, heavy oil in the refining process in catalytic crackers to lighter ends like gasoline, diesel that are marketable. And if you look at the crude oil market globally, it is trending toward heavier crudes. So lanthanum in the refining sector is absolutely essential. I mentioned at the outset, China controls between 95 and 100% of the market for these 15 elements. There is no other commodity, no other string of commodities that have this kind of significance where one player in the market has this kind of market control. It is unprecedented. According to Roscoe Consulting, they track the issues of surrounding rare earth elements. Demand for these rare earth elements and the lanthanides could outstrip supply as soon as 2013. Today, the global market for rare earth elements is approximately 100,000 tons per year. Roscoe Consulting is estimating that could rise to 130,000 tons or so just in the next 3 years. A lot of that is due to the rapidly growing automotive market in China. It's also to the rapid growth in the high technology sector in China. So what are the options then going forward for finding new supply and finding new mines, et cetera, of these rare earth elements? Mark Mills writes a column in Forbes, and he had a very insightful piece a while back. He said, any new technology that comes along, ultimately, in some way or another, depends ultimately on digging something out of the ground. He was talking about lithium, he was talking about some other things in that column, but it's clearly the case when it involves the lanthanides. I'll talk about Molycorp a little bit more in just a moment, but Molycorp is a California-based company. Their mine is located about 200 miles northeast of here, near the Nevada border. The Molycorp mine has one of the richest ore bodies for lanthanides and rare earth oxides of any location in the world. The U.S. has fairly large deposits of these rare earth oxides, but we haven't been mining them. The Molycorp mine quit mining a few years ago. They are now producing some of these rare earth oxides, but only from stockpiles that they have on site. I talked to their chief technology officer the other day, a guy named John Burba. He said that Molycorp, even though they haven't begun mining again, they plan to start the refining operation very soon. He said they have letters of intent in hand that will account for 145% of their expected production. So they clearly see a very robust market for rare earth elements. Why are so many people interested in buying their commodities? It's because the Chinese have begun restricting exports of rare earth elements, and on the exports that they are doing, they are increasing the tariffs. But like any high-value commodity, smuggling is a key issue, and this is another part of this business market issue, and I'm not, Allison could probably give you business cases that would really dig down into this, but any rare commodity, any high-value commodity, smuggling is an issue. Heroin, cocaine, right? You know, these are the obvious ones, drugs, the illegal drug trade, weapons, et cetera. About 20% of the rare earth market today is smuggled out of China. You know, consider any other strategic commodity. Look at oil. How much of it is smuggled? I mean, you know, it's a de minimis. This very small amount is smuggled. Yes, there's some smuggled out of Iran in terms of finished gasoline, but it's a very small amount. So 20,000 tons being smuggled out of China, that's a big number. Okay, so let me talk about chemistry. Allison talked about the chemistry aspect. I'm lucky my father-in-law is a chemist, was a PhD chemist and taught at the University of Michigan for 40 years. And I called him and I said, look, I need to know why the lanthanides. What is it about the lanthanides? How can I tell an audience what it is about their properties? Well, the short answer is this goes down to the quantum mechanics level. The lanthanides and the shape, the configuration rather, of their electron shell is the critical aspect of their construction that allows them to have unique magnetic interactions with other elements. And there are no other elements that have that kind of configuration in their electron shell. So this really goes down, again, to the issue of quantum mechanics. And Jay Whitaker and I talked about this a little before in terms of energy storage, in terms of batteries. Ultimately, one of the key limits in battery technology and in all high technology aspects or high technology applications is it goes down to this the electron shell and the quantum mechanics issue that is the key limiter. And those are somewhat difficult to change, as I understand it.